This is a story about young people who've been overlooked and never had the chance to show people what they can do, having all this talent and all this power. If you haven't watched Shadow and Bone yet, where have you been? Since debuting on Netflix in April, the fantasy series has already taken the world by storm. Based on the novels by the Israeli-American author Leigh Bardugo, Shadow and Bone is a show where prophecies speak of a chosen hero, and magical soldiers can stop hearts, summon darkness, and bend the elements to their whims. What makes this show truly stand apart from the rest is the sheer amount of representation. It features the LGBTQ+ characters, the drag community, and the strong female protagonists. In today's video, we will concentrate on the diverse main cast that brings all the beautiful characters to life and helps viewers feel actually represented on screen.
I leave you a bullet to remember me.
Let's promise never to forget each other, my love. But I must go now.
From the relative newcomers to a fan casting come to life. Which one of the actors was a teacher before the big break? And who grew up with the vampire slayer herself? We've got all the details for you, so don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell for more stories that will fire up your heart. Ben Barnes as the Darkling. Fan casting for the ages.
Hey everyone, it is very early in the morning, but I am very excited to be able to tell you that this is day one of shooting for me on a new Netflix show called Shadow and Bone. It's a fantasy series based on some books.
He stole our hearts back in 2008 as Prince Caspian and seduced us alongside Colin Firth and Dorian Gray a year later. Then came a myriad of indie films and TV productions, including Westworld, The Punisher, and Gold Digger. And while the actor seems to be a cinnamon roll and utter delight in real life, Ben isn't afraid to make himself master of the morally gray in acting, hence being perfect for the role. Fans were already dreamcasting him as far back as 2013. As one Twitter user put it, God made men and sent us Ben Barnes as an apology. While the rest of the cast is relatively unknown, the executive producer Eric Heiserer understood that the Darkling needed to be played by an actor who could bring a sense of history and authority to the role, while also being a viable romantic interest for the lead and a mentor to the younger cast. Ben Barnes was the one. If you get someone that carries themselves with respect and has that kind of respect for everybody else, then you build a completely different atmosphere on set, Heiserer said. Barnes at first wasn't so sure. He'd made so many period fantasy projects that his friends had started calling him Boy with a Sword.
It's funny, at one point on my IMDb it used to say like my name and your height and your age, and then like trivia, often lives in a fantasy world or something like that, and I was like, oh, it's pretty accurate.
Thankfully, the actor changed his mind and poured himself into the process, devouring all the novels. He was delighted to realize that everyone else was bringing the same level of commitment he was. Book fans must have been utterly excited to see such devotion from the actors. The buzz around the show has left Barnes with a feeling of anticipation that he says he hasn't felt for a very long time. When he's not playing beautiful, broody men on screen and being all mysterious about his friendship with Juliana Hough, he's making his music and covering songs on Instagram. Jessie Lee as Alina. More than a strong female protagonist. Shadow and Bone may be Leigh's big Hollywood break, but the 25-year-old Chinese-British actor has no desire to be famous. Instead, she kind of just fell into acting after a brief stint studying French and Spanish and nearly 2 years as a special education teaching assistant.
I always loved, dressing up, but it was always something that I just loved doing with friends and things, and I loved doing school plays, but I never really considered that it could be something that I would actually end up being able to do as a job.
Leigh initially had reservations about auditioning for the character, whose ethnicity was changed from white to mixed race, citing concerns about whether the change was being made due to a diversity quota. Jessie's apprehension was put at ease when she was asked to perform a scene in which Alina explicitly discusses race and her experience as a biracial woman. It convinced Leigh that the change was something to help build the world and to help build her character. She later said, "It was really nice for me to be able to use some of my own experience as a mixed person, of being constantly othered by everyone, and bring that to Alina's character."
Did you not like the color I chose for you?
You're the only one who wears it.
Tell me, are you so anxious to be like everyone else?
It'd be nice to know what it feels like someday. General.
Jessie landed the role not long after making her stage debut in a West End production of All About Eve, and she'll appear next alongside Anya Taylor-Joy in Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. Maybe she's the chosen one after all. Archie Renaux as Mal, from a kid to a love interest for a lead. Look out for this young heartbreaker. Last year, he played Ben Barnes' stepson in Gold Digger. This time, they're fighting for the love of the lead, Alina. Wow, right? Even though the 23-year-old Anglo-Indian actor already knew how much of an impact the show would make, thanks to its already existing fandom, it didn't entirely hit Archie until he saw the first teaser trailer. Though, the recognition was not the reason he wanted to help bring Mal to life. For him, it was all about getting the chance to play someone who would teach him how to be braver than he was. I think everyone could learn a bit about his heart and courage. He has this willingness to keep going on no matter how tough times get, he said. Aside from, generally becoming a better human being and actor, probably to be a big-hearted father to an adorable daughter he shares with his girlfriend. Amita Suman as Inej Gaffa, from Nepal to Netflix. The actor was born in Nepal and grew up in a clay house in a small village. Her days were filled with adventures, out looking for fresh mangoes, being chased by cows, eagles, and fighting king cobras chilling out in their roofs made of hay. One of her biggest struggles was learning to read, write, and speak basic English within 4 months of arriving in the UK. I felt I had climbed Mount Everest to understand scripts and texts fully, she said. With Shadow and Bone, a 23-year-old Amita hit her first major role.
I mean, Krebesk isn't the worst. We can open up a bar. Brew East Ravkan beer for the Westerners.
Shut up, Jasper.
She has previously appeared in Doctor Who in The Outpost, so she's familiar with genre television. But Amita never thought she would get to star in one. As a brown actress, I never thought I'd have the opportunity to work in the fantasy genre, on TV or film, she told Bustle, even though it's always been my dream. Soon the actor realized that the industry is changing. It still has a long way to go, but diversity is showing its power in all forms of art. She picked up some real-life knife skills and a scar while training for Shadow and Bone, and her most prized possession is her collection of cozy onesies. Daisy Head is Jenya Safin, grew up with another chosen one. Daisy Head has been steadily working on TV for years in shows like Guilt and Harlots. It must have been a dream come true as the actor grew up on sets. One particular set might blow your mind a little bit. Her father, Anthony Head, used to bring her and her sister to watch him work on the first female-centered supernatural show that might have been a part of your childhood as well. Yep, that's right. Daisy grew up alongside Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and she thinks of Buffy herself, Sarah Michelle Gellar, as an older sister. She was so wonderful with my sister and me, and I thank her so much for that, said Daisy. The actor added how she's passionate about what she does and how she loves being a part of something that allows people to escape and enjoy. Kit Young is Jesper Fahey, failed audition for Mal or a carbon copy of the character. English actor Kit Young is a total scene stealer as Jesper. A graduate of London's prestigious Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, the 26-year-old has plenty of stage credits under his belt, including A Midsummer Night's Dream. Jesper marks his first prominent role, and it's not even the one he had planned. Young originally auditioned for Mal, saying, "It was the worst audition of my life." But in a surprise twist of fate, another job of his helped casting directors see a different side of Kit that made him a better fit for Jesper.
I don't want to be the one that you point to and say, explode something for us. That is not a Jesper talent. I shoot things with style. And I look good. Let's just play to my strengths, boss.
While many of his cast members have noted that he is most like his character, Kit mentions that Jesper's impulsiveness is something he does not have, but hopes to build on to become a braver and freer person. Freddy Carter is Kaz Brecker. Care deeply, but don't take things too seriously. Every once in a while, an actor will get lucky to find an opportunity right out of the gate. That's exactly what happened to Freddy Carter. He made his on-screen debut in Wonder Woman. While he didn't have a huge role, the experience of working on a big production for his first job has helped him set up for success. Freddy's also a writer and director, making his debut with the short film Number 89, a comedy about breakups. And judging from his Instagram, he's a talented photographer.
I started taking pictures on sets just because you're normally in kind of beautiful places, surrounded by people who don't mind being in front of camera. and they're sort of wearing quite interesting things.
Carter has accomplished a lot in a short time frame, and he believes other young actors can do the same. When asked if he had any advice, he said, "Don't take anything too seriously. I'm guilty of it. It's hard not to because you should care deeply about what you're doing, but try to enjoy it as well. Otherwise, what's the point?"